Now, Joe Biden is taking action for the people, and millions of middle and low-income households can expect to receive a boost of monthly benefits. So remember, everybody, if you're on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or RRB, then continue watching this video. So as the crisis continues to impact millions of people's lives, many states are choosing to extend their funding of food stamps to their residents. That's all through the SNAP program. And the good news is that many residents can expect extra benefits to be sent out this month, and $1 billion per month began being provided last year by the federal government for SNAP benefits. At first, the funding was to help 12 million individuals on food stamp benefits to be able to afford food after facing a job loss or even inflation. Now, although funding from the federal government expired in September, many states have decided to continue to send low and middle income residents extra benefits themselves. Right now, most families are seeing the additional money help them to reach the maximum amount if they don't already have it. The minimum amount families will get is $95, but the Biden administration did permanently increase how much a person could get by around $36 last month. This means on average, a person will see up to $157 per person. Today, more than 200,000 Americans who rely on the government SNAP program will be receiving extra relief money, at least according to the governor of Connecticut. People who receive food stamps in the state of Connecticut will see the added funds today. Plus, remaining households that don't usually qualify for the maximum monthly benefits because their income or other factors will receive extra benefits of at least $95 too. The average estimated emergency benefit is $155, but that is depending on their specific benefit situation. All low and middle income households also receive their normal SNAP benefits based on the new thrifty food plan amounts. And everybody, let's remember that state governments are sending out more relief to their residents as the crisis continues. And I know many of you are wondering about benefits for Social Security, SSI, and SSDI. Well, many of the senators in Congress have been trying to figure out their finances for the Social Security and Medicare programs. Within the next 11 years, 3 of the government's most important trust funds, like Medicare, Social Security, and the Highway Trust Fund, are projected to run low on the money that is needed to provide full benefits. Up first is Medicare, which could run low by 2026. Senator Mitt Romney as well as Senator Angus King say the issues need to be addressed now, that waiting for the money to run would be too late, and they're pushing a plan to establish rescue commissions to look into the programs. And according to Senator Romney, when the crisis began, everything sort of stopped because we all focused on the crisis, but the Trust Act is now on the front burner again. People are working on this even though it's not a top political issue. And the U.S. Treasury report found that with no action, the Social Security Trust Fund is currently projected to pay only the benefits through 2023 and after Medicare runs low in 2026. Let's not forget the recent bipartisan infrastructure law helped at the Highway Trust Fund a bit, but only extended its solvency through 2027. In recent years, Romney has led the effort of a bill known as the Trust Act, which was first introduced in 2019. The bill would establish commissions tasked with looking at each other's major funds. A host of the moderate senators that have been supportive of the idea include Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. Would then have a heated internal debate about the balance between raising more revenue. So folks, President Biden definitely should do more stimulus checks this year. If you guys agree with me that it has to be done this year, tell me in the comments down below.
In American history, it is appropriate for the American people and for my colleagues here in the Senate to remember what former Republican President Dwight D. Eisenhower said in 1953 when he was president. And as we all recall, Dwight D. Eisenhower was a 4-star general, not a politician, who led the Allied forces to victory in Europe during World War II. So this was no peacenik. This was a man who saw more death and more military battles than probably any human being should have to. And this is what Eisenhower said, and I quote, "Every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket signifies in the final sense a theft from those who hunger and are not fed, those who are cold and are not clothed. This world in arms is not spending money alone. It is spending the sweat of its laborers, the genius of its scientists, the hopes of its children." End of quote. That's Dwight D. Eisenhower, and that is what he said some 68 years ago. It was true then, it is even more true now. If the horrific coronavirus pandemic has taught us anything, a pandemic which has cost us now almost 700,000 lives, it is that national security means more than just building bombs or missiles or jet fighters or tanks or submarines or nuclear warheads and other weapons of mass destruction. National security also means doing everything that we can to protect the lives of ordinary Americans, many of whom have been abandoned by their government for decades. These are people right now who are struggling to put food on the table, people who are now experiencing a lower life expectancy than was the case in the past. And these are people who, in many instances, when they get sick, can't even afford to go to a doctor. Madam President, when we analyze the Defense Department budget, it's important to note that Congress has appropriated so much money for the Defense Department that the Pentagon literally does not know what to do with it. According to the GAO, over the course of 11 years, the Pentagon returned an astonishing $128 billion in excess funds back to the Treasury. And over the past 2 decades, while we funnel out money to the defense contractors, it's important to note that virtually every major defense contractor in the United States has been fined for misconduct and fraud, all while making huge profits. Since 1995, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and United Technologies have paid over $3 billion in fines or related settlements for fraud or misconduct. And meanwhile, the CEOs of these large defense companies enjoy incredibly large compensation packages. In fact, on average, over 100 times more than does the Secretary of Defense. Madam President, I have also filed an amendment with Senator Markey and Representative Ro Khanna in the House to finally end all U.S. support for the Saudi war effort in Yemen. This amendment simply codifies a prohibition on support for the Saudi war that has already